Hi guys, Jamie Hinks here from the Jamie Hinks Fantasy Football channel, back with another video. Missed out the midweek games just because the turnaround was a little bit too tight there for me, but I've got one for this weekend, which is going to be another one where I look at my 8-man fantasy football lineup for this weekend's slate on DraftKings. Specifically, I'll be looking at Saturday's slate, which is actually 6 games, starts with the 3 o'clock games and includes the late game too. So with no further ado, let's get straight into my lineup. So in goal for this weekend, I've gone for Lee Grant of Stoke, who is only $4,100 on DraftKings. They play Liverpool at home, so it's going to be a tough game. But if you look at Grant recently, he's actually been really, really good. He's got 6 clean sheets in the 13 home games that he's played in this season, which is a really good ratio, 1 in 2, because I don't love to trust Stoke that much, but I think this weekend, I think you have to do it just because they need one more win to get out of that little bit of a rut they're in at the moment. I think 1 win and they'll definitely be safe. I personally don't think they're going to go down, but I think they need another win to get right out of it. But the only loss in the last 6 at home was actually against Chelsea, and I think Liverpool aren't particularly good against these teams that are on poor form. They showed against Bournemouth midweek just what I mean there. But also Liverpool love to shoot. Grant make a few saves. They're 2.7 saves per game this season. And Liverpool are suffering with a lot of injuries as well, so I think the win isn't that far off for Stoke, and I think if you pick him, you'll get good value for just $4,100. So let's get straight into the defence, and I've gone for Cedric Suarez of Southampton, got an assist against Crystal Palace midweek, $4,800, the Portuguese defender. It's no real surprise that Chelsea have been sniffing around him if you think about it. He's been so good this season, carried forward that form from Euro 2016, which he of course won with Portugal, but also he's the 5th highest priced defender this week, and he's only 4,800, 15.5 points against Crystal Palace. That included that assist that I've already mentioned. West Brom are in a little bit of a poor patch. I don't see Cedric getting a clean sheet here, but I think he'll get plenty of crosses, plenty of tackles. Of course, those are the 2 categories where he averages really well this season, 2.8 tackles per game and 5 crosses per game so far. I think you get Cedric in, you'll be very, very happy with how he does for you. So the second defender I've gone for is Gary Cahill of Chelsea, who's only $3,400. Bit of a recurring theme that I keep going for central defenders that I think are going to score headed goals, and it's the same this week. I think he'll score a headed goal. He's already got 4 goals this season, has Cahill, which is one of the better totals among the defenders. I mean, he's no Gareth McCauley, but he's doing well in that he's just getting a few goals, chipping in with a few goals. Bournemouth's second worst record for conceding headers in the Premier League. They've conceded 12 so far this season. I don't see Bournemouth keeping a clean sheet. The supply for Chelsea is still very, very good, especially if Fabregas plays. Cahill's chances of a goal go even higher. Plus 1.3 tackles and 1.3 interceptions is actually very, very good for a central defender. Usually you just get clearances and blocks off them, but with Cahill you're getting the tackles, the interceptions as well. Plus it saves you that money that you're going to need for further up your team. So let's get into the midfield, and I have gone for Adama Traore of Middlesbrough, who is $4,600. You may be asking why I'm bothering to go for a Middlesbrough player. I think it's because they really need to go for broke in this game, because this is their final chance to even have a chance of staying up. I don't think they're going to stay up. I think them and Sunderland already gone. But if they're going to have a chance of staying up, it's going to be through Traore. 22 points against Hull. He got an assist, of course, but also assist is only worth 6 points, so he got a lot of other points outside that. Shots, crosses. One interesting one is that he draws a lot of fouls because he's so quick. Other teams are just kicking lumps out of him. 3.75 fouls drawn per game over the last 4. Burnley, their opponents this week, they can't buy a win away from home. They haven't had one all season. I mean, on the flip side, you could say this is Burnley's best chance of getting one all season. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Middlesbrough will get the win here, and I think Traore will be quite a big part of that. So alongside him in midfield is one of the big guns. It's Kevin De Bruyne, $8,800 on DraftKings this week. Only had 5 points against Chelsea, but in the games before that had double digits. Got 2 assists, 1 in each of the Arsenal and the Liverpool game, which puts him back up to 11 assists for the season, which is the joint highest total alongside Gylfi Sigurdsson. Sigurdsson was a little bit too expensive for me this week. I know they're playing West Ham away, but I fancy West Ham to get that win that they need to stay up. Swansea have been on awful form as well. Sigurdsson at over 11,000. Too much for me this week. If you can find a way to get him in, he guarantees you points every single week. But I think De Bruyne's a better option, 8,800. Averaging 10 crosses per game over his across those 2 games against Liverpool and Arsenal. Hull are going to get an absolute battering, in my opinion, by Man City, and I think De Bruyne is going to have a lot to do with that. Right, so into the forward line, and you'll not be surprised to see that I have gone for Sergio Aguero, $10,200 of Manchester City. Managed to keep up that average of 13.5 fantasy points per game this season, which I think is very impressive considering he spent quite a lot of time out injured. I think he's going to have one of those games where he scores an absolute hatful. He likes to be up on those on the smaller teams quite a lot of the time. He'll score 4 or 5 against one of them. I think Hull are in the firing line for one of those. They haven't won an away game under Marco Silva so far. It's going to be the home form that'll keep them up if they stay up. Aguero, 1 goal every 125 minutes in the Premier League, which is right up there amongst the best players in the league. 4.3 shots per game. That's the best total in the league. It's joint with Zlatan now. He's managed to get right up alongside him. And I think he's worth the $10,200 this week, so get him in your team. Right, so alongside him up front, I've gone for Eden Hazard of Chelsea, who's $8,900 this week. He's cheaper than Diego Costa, and I think he's better value. 2 goals against Manchester City. He did miss a penalty, but whenever he does miss a penalty, he manages to score the rebound, so we're not really bothered by that. Little bit of a minus off there, but I'm happy with him anyway. 29 points in that game as well, and he's had 4 consecutive double-digit returns in a row. This guy is right up there amongst those players that are going to be in the running for the Player of the Season in the Premier League, and I think this weekend away at Bournemouth, he's going to have a good day. So finally, with the money I had left, I have gone for Nacer Chadli in the util spot. Only $5,200 this week. Didn't have a goal or an assist in the defeat at Watford on Wednesday, but still managed to get 12 points, which is quite an impressive little mark for Chadli. 5 shots in that game, 6 crosses, which is where most of the points came from. He's always a threat, and he's against a Southampton team that seems almost allergic to keeping clean sheets right now. That defence is not a particularly good one. The Baggies, they need a win. They don't need a win to stay up, but they need a win just to finish the season off impressively. To get to 40 points in the stop is almost like Alan Kirbishley at Charlton form, and I don't think Pulis will want to be tagged with that kind of to get that kind of tag. But yeah, I think I would have had Nathan Redmond in this position if I'd had the money. He was $100 too expensive. Spent all my money elsewhere, but I think Chadley's as good as anyone you can get around this price range. But if you can get the extra 100, get Redmond. Otherwise, get Chadley and you'll be happy. So guys, that was my 8-man lineup video for this week's games. I'll be trying to get one up for the Champions League little 4-game slate next week. Good luck in all your contests, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. Thank you very much, and goodbye.